folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a bit of a speculation / wishful thinking kind of video. But before we jump into that, as per usual, if you enjoy this kind of video, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and if you're not already, give that sub button a bit of a click, because you know you want to. Right, so in this video we're going to have a bit of a chat about Warhammer. So we're not going to talk about Warhammer the Old World and why we haven't got certain factions being supported, like the Vampire Counts or the Dark Elves, for instance. We're going to give us a bit of a chat about Age of Sigmar. So, Age of Sigmar is obviously a game that some people love, some people hate. But if you are unaware, Age of Sigmar is on the brink of progressing into its 4th edition. Although it's not officially confirmed yet, we've got pretty much a lot of evidence to point us in that direction in the shape of the 4 supplemental books called Dawnbringers. So, with the other editions of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, they have done supplemental books before. So, for instance, there were Malign Portents at the end of 1st edition, 2nd edition and the Soul Wars was the Broken Realms, and now we've had Dominion and we're getting the Dawnbringers. So, the Dawnbringers are crusades that venture forth from the cities of Sigmar to settle new fortifications, settlements and bulwarks against everything that looks to send the civilized parts of the mortal realms into disarray. These 4 books focus the narrative on a 2-pronged crusade setting out from Hammerhal, which is the city that crosses 2 realms, Ghyran and Akshi. Book 4 has not been released yet. It is due to be released on Saturday, the 3rd of February, if I remember rightly, and will explain even further and give us more narrative. So obviously I don't know what's in the 4th book, so we're going to go through a little bit of story that's in the first 3 though. So book 1 explains that a foul plague has kind of beset the Crusaders in Ghyran before they've even had a chance to leave the gates. So over in Akshi though, instead of facing as much of a plague as possible, they actually get set upon by Troggoths, Grots and Squigs before they even get a chance to get out the gate. So back over in Ghyran, Alariel, to help progress the Dawnbringer crusade, performs a rite of life that opens up the skies, providing a restorative rain that washes away the contagion, while over in Akshi, the Fireslayers of the Grimhold Exiles have fought off the advance of the hordes of Grots, Troggoths and Squigs, and then the crusade can finally get itself going. Progressing on to book 2 though, the Akshian half of the crusade have managed to set off, and they are fighting many battles across the Great Parch and becoming very victorious in their going. However, while resupplying at Trucebreak, a cog fort itself, during this time though, the misguided and very overconfident Marshal Malcorn decides to take on the forces of Trugg, the Troggoth King, and the cog fort gets reduced to rubble. So it's only through the fact that a group of volunteers and flagellants provide enough time for Pontifex Zenestra to cast a very powerful spell which provides enough time for everybody else to escape. Over in Ghyran though, the crusade has been running afoul of King Brod and his Mega Gargants, who have teamed up with a horde of Ironjaws who are assaulting the Stormkeep Fort Gardus, which in all honesty suffers a very similar fate to Trucebreak, as the combined forces of Stormcasts, Sylvaneth and Hadron Overlords cannot hold back the onslaught of the Oryx and Gargants. Then moving into book 3, both halves of the crusade have taken quite a lot of punishment. The Akshian half is helped out by the Fireslayers of Lothnir and the Varstag lodges before they meet up with Vander's Hammerhand and take on the Gortide of Khorne. As the battle looks like it's going to go very badly, Ionas Cryptborn arrives on his Crimson Draconith and helps them seize the day. As they then start to continue on their way on crusade, is then set upon by the Iden of Deepkin before they're saved by another hero of the Stormcast Eternals, which is Neve Blacktalon and her Black Talons, who then does one-on-one combat with an Achillean Knight King. So, yeah, happy days. Back over in Gyron, though, the Crusade is constantly being attacked by packs of ogres. This is before the Sylvaneth ride to the rescue and help the Crusade out, and everything's looking quite peachy until the arrival of Kragnos and the hordes that follow him, and even more damage is done to surviving Crusaders. This is all perceived and kind of anticipated by Alariel, Lord Croak, Krondis and Karazai, and they basically save this crusade. But this gives an opening to Usharan, the Mortarch of Delusion, to make a return and to bring about his flesh eater courts. So book 4 is going to give us a bit more information about the encounter between Usharan, the Mortarch of Delusion, and the now pretty battered Crusaders. So that could be quite interesting. In all honesty, from the outside, it looks like the Flesh Eater Courts may be gearing up to become the next big bad for the next edition. However, I feel that we're ignoring some of the factions that could be quite important, and some of them have not really been had anything done with them for quite a while. For instance, I personally would prefer us to go back towards a more chaos orientated faction, and for me, I think that should be the Skaven. So, Skaven and kind of embody every aspect of chaos, and in all honesty, they haven't really been given a lot of love for a very, very long time. Since the release of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, in all honesty, I think we've had a couple of Warhammer Underworlds warbands, we've had a Warlock Bombardier, we've had one or two other lead characters, including a Death Master and stuff like that, and just not enough to give us more. And I think GW, it's about time that they gave us some love towards the Vermintide. So, in terms of narrative, the Skaven are very close to being at civil war again, because the different clans constantly fall out with each other in a never-ending amount of backstabbing, conspiracies, sabotage, and seeking power for themselves, and they need to find a common goal. But, curiously enough, there is a certain Greyseer Fanqual who is reportedly busy scheming away. Now, if you don't know about Greyseer Fanqual, then let me give you a little bit of info about him. So, he is a very powerful Skaven mage known as a Greyseer, with an addiction to Warpstone, which is the very essence of chaos. In the world that was, he attempted to seize the human city of Nuln with a mix of Skaven clans, including Ratkin from Skya and Moulder clans, as well as employing assassins from Clan Eshin. But he was thwarted by Felix Jaeger and Gotrek Gurnason. He continued to encounter Gotrek and Felix as he kind of progressed, so he tried to capture the airship of Malachi Makason and encountered Gotrek and Felix. He tried to then capture Gotrek and Felix, and only succeeded in killing Felix's father in Altdorf, in all honesty, and having Felix vow an eternal revenge upon him. Fanqual was actually also present during the end times, but, you know, he didn't go all the Skaven's way. So Fanqual's soul is rumoured to have been plucked from the world that was by the Great Horned Rat to be tortured endlessly for his failures, until he gnawed himself free of his prison and appeared in Blight City, the capital of Skavendom in the Mortal Realms. Fanqual then proceeded to begin accumulating power, drawing the suspicions of the Council of 13. During the Corsfing War, known as the Soul Wars, the undead massed upon Blight City as the Skaven prepared a second invasion of Nagash Izar. Fanqual devised a successful plan to contain the undead, And then he did a runner after the victory, as the paranoia of what the council may do to stop him becoming too powerful just, kind of crept up on him. And this is where he encounters Godric in the mortal realms. So, while he is searching through a crystal labyrinth of Tzeentch for a realm gate that leads back to the world that was, he encounters Godric Gurnison again, and Thanquol only just escapes. So, during this time, Godric destroys the realm gate, and Thanquol has gone off to come up with some new plans as the rest of Skaven are kind of like teetering on the edge and bickering over the spoils of war. And that's generally all we know. So they've not had a lot of lore kind of given to them over what they've really should be getting. So I think it's about time we got a bit more narrative round about the Skaven. So they need a bit of love. Now, I would expect a new box set if a Skaven were in there. I personally would expect quite a few minis out of it. So, in all honesty, looking through good old the Warhammer Age of Sigmar War Scroll app, I would expect us to get, say, 2 units of Storm Vermin, a unit of Clan Rats, and that's 40 Skaven straight out of the box. But they're fairly weak, so you would need some really, really good stuff. I think that we could possibly get, say, like a new version of Thanquol and his trusty servant Bone Ripper, for instance. We could get a Claw Lord. We could get some all really, really cool stuff. Now, I think this would be a great thing to be included in the next edition of Age of Sigmar. The ability to utilise numbers against kind of Stormcast Eternals, because you can guarantee they'll be in the next box anyway because they're the poster boys of the Age of Sigmar, would give us some really, really crafty, different ways of kind of competing in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now, I think this should be true because at the moment there's no plans for Skaven in Warhammer the Old World because they're in the middle of a civil war in Warhammer the Old World's narrative, so it should be about time that I think Age of Sigmar gets some Skaven love and a bit from there, so it should be good. Right, that's it from me. I personally, I'm going to stand by my case. I am going to argue that Skaven should be given love by GW because they are funny, they're quite interesting, and they like to utilise numbers. Now, building up a really strong force of Skaven is really, really, really tough. You do need Storm Vermin, you need Clan Rats, you need things like the Rat Ogres and such like, and Storm Fiends maybe, and you need some wacky weaponry to go with them. So that'll be really, really cool. Whether we will get anything like that, I do not know. I just hope that we get a Skaven box because, yeah, they deserve a bit more. So, although I do think that we're edging more towards Flesh Eater Courts from the looks of it. We'll see though, who knows. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very, very much for hearing me out. Drop a comment down below if if I've maybe swayed you towards the Vermin cause, or, just let me know what you would prefer to see as the next kind of major army or major force within a new edition of Age of Sigmar. But until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.